Hey guys, this is Nick from C17 and part of the group that's focusing on lighting for the UDK presentation and breakdown. And today we're going to focus upon post-process effects. Now, post-process effects are effects that show up in the game after everything is rendered, everything in the game is rendered. So things like static meshes, ESPs, are things that are rendered and then outputted. Post-process effects are the effects that are applied onto the scene after everything is rendered. So for example, when you get shot and you see like a red flash happen, that's a post-process effect. So we're going to talk about post-process effects and how to access them and how to manipulate them, and talk about depth of field, motion blur, and scene saturation and highlights. So there's three ways to get to the affect things in the post-process level. There's things in the chain, and there's the world level, and then there's the post-process volume level using the builder brush. So we're gonna look for the post-process chain, and to find the default one, you go to your C drive or wherever you were installed UDK, find what version you're using, UDK game, config, and default engine.ini. So if you do click for a post-process, default post-process name goes fx hitfx.ut postprocess _pc. And so if you just go to your content browser, select all types and check off post-process chain, there it is. Double click on it, you'll see your post-process chain. So at the chain level, these effects will apply across your entire game. And no matter what the level, and so you're going to see when you first open it, you're going to see a bunch of boxes, and the ones you should focus on is Uber post-process effect and material effect. Now, Uber post-process effect is just things that blankets or umbrellas ambient occlusion effects, where effects depth of field and bloom effects, because Epic just iterates on their versions and just makes new things but keeps the old stuff. And so this chain will affect every single level you have. Now, if you don't want it to affect the whole entire game, you go select one of them. For me, it's like Uber post-process effect, and just select world settings. Show in editor, you'll see your post-process effects happening within the editor. Show in game is obviously when you show in game, but world settings will override this chain and just use the world settings for your scenes. Now, to access the world settings, go to View, World Properties, and there it should be. And you open up the rendering tab, and there you get all your post-process effects. So we're going to start off with depth of field. So this is here, enable depth of field, check it off. If you check it off, and it is off, you'll see that depth of field is off. Turn it on. And the big settings that's going to affect depth of field most is focus distance and focus radius. Focus distance is where depth of field starts. So since it's 0, it's a point right where the camera is at. And focus inner radius is the circle around the focus distance point where things are sharp. And the farther it is, the bigger the number, the bigger the radius. The smaller the number, let's say we dump it down to 1,000, the smaller the circle, and therefore the more stuff that's closer to you that will become more blurry. The next one is motion blur. Now you can't see motion blur in the editor. You have to build your lights and then go into the game, play from here, and then you'll see it. First, let's see what it looks like off. It's not that significant. It's, you know, a little blurry, but it's just the scene drawing, right? But then when you turn on motion blur amount, motion blur max velocity, those are the two settings that will affect it most. And I dumped it up real high. You can see that it's really blurry when I move the camera around. Now, the higher the number for each of those settings, it's like 10. The motion blur amount. The more motion blur you get, and max velocity will also affect it. See? Now, the other one, last one, that's one you should focus on, are the scene saturation and scene highlights. Now, scene saturation works from the value from 0 to 1. Now, if you bump it all the way to 1, it will become black and white. Half, it gets some color. And then you can experiment with that. It kind of, you're going to see the gears of war style and color because of the heightened up scene saturation. Anyway, scene highlights affect things, red color. So X represents red, Y represents green, and blue represents C. So the lower the number, the more red will happen. It's for Y, it just has super saturated green. And for Z, super blue. Midtones work the same way, but instead of the highlights, it will be the midtones. You know, not as pronounced. And scene shadows work the same way, but instead, the higher the number, the darker the shadows get. But setting's very touchy, very sensitive, so you just want to just bump it down into like the hundreds, even the thousands. Very minor. Okay, so that's at the world level, where it affects everything around here level. Now, the final one is the post-process level. The post-process volume level, where you select your builder brush using B, and you just build one. And right-click these volumes, and it's post-process volume. You can make it any size you want. It just depends on the builder brush. Now, to affect things at the post-process volume level, let's say you step into the box, and then its own properties that you set for the post-process volumes will affect you when the camera steps into the box. So to access the settings, you hit F4, and you'll get post-process volume, 0 properties, and you have all these settings, the same ones that you got for the post-process settings in the world value. Now, here, two important settings: priority and override world post-process chain. This is self-explanatory. This will override the world settings, and then priority in case volumes overlap, if you have boxes with boxes within boxes of post-process values, the ones with the highest priority is chosen. So, as you can see, there's some, when I get out of the post-process volume, it's this color. That's in it, it'll change. But, this setting, C interpolation duration, will allow you to, when you enter it, have a smoother transition from this color to this one. You can only see it during game mode. So here I am in this room. I step into it. The effects happen over time. It'll affect it gradually. So you see on this side is red, and here the depth of field's kind of effective. It's not a strong motion blur. When I go out, it'll take up on the world properties again. So, yeah, it's about for world. That's it for post-process effects. You can do so much more if you just create your materials. There's a lot of tutorials, a lot of downloads online. You just find, it's very easy to find actually. Just do Google search for post-process effects UDK, and you'll find custom ones made by the community and like a lot of people online who just want to recreate effects. You can do things like harsh black outlines that you see in a lot of cel shading games, or you can do chromatic aberration like you do in photos. So, but these are the basics, and you can experiment to get a lot of cool effects. And good luck and have fun.